Hello, welcome to our midweek business news report. We now start off with news across Nigeria today as we focus on the energy sector, looking at the petroleum sector. As we see, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation has spent no less than 905 billion naira on petrol subsidy, and this is coming amid the rising discussions of PIA amendments. Joining me now live in our Lagos studio to discuss this and much more, I have Adiola Yusuf, the team lead of Platforms Africa. Good to have you on the breakfast show this morning.
My pleasure. Good morning.
Now, we're having well over 900 billion naira spent on petrol subsidy in the last 8 months. Now, looking at how much we're still likely to spend at the end of the year, this still remains unsustainable. We are having calls and looking at amendments of the Petroleum Industry Act and a whole lot more. But when will we likely build a sustainable framework, feasible framework that would ensure that we have the subsidy regime removed and then cushions put in place?
Okay, we are all aware that the Petroleum Industry Act, when it was a bill was signed into an act by the president, and everyone expected that immediately, because there is a provision in that act that criminalized subsidy on petroleum products. So everyone expected that would take effect. But Mr. President, in his wisdom, has set a committee up to look into the implementation of even the PIA itself, and that committee will have up till next year to come up with his report. So with that arrangement, it means that we'll still continue to pay subsidy. I said Mr. President in his wisdom, because he must have had a lot of other things that we may not be able to hear. But fundamentally, I keep saying it, looking at subsidy will be from 3 views. The first one is a political view, which I believe that everyone that will know, is a politician will be afraid of removing subsidy at this moment. The second one is the legal view. Framework. Legal, if we are talking about it legally, it will show that until the committee set up by the president comes up with the implementation, and the president declared the implementation, at the beginning of the implementation, that is when that can take effect. Then the third one is the economic view. Any economist will tell you that it doesn't make sense to subsidize petroleum products. But because of how cardinal, how important the petroleum product is to a nation. Look at what is happening in the UK now. You understand? Immediately there's a crisis in that aspect, it turns into a national crisis. So I want to believe that might be the reason the president is still delaying tactically the implementation of that. But economically, we will still keep spending more. 2 days ago, the crude oil price hit $78 per barrel.
No, actually, and yesterday, well over $80.
Well over $80.
The next focus I'd like us to deliberate on. Now, we are seeing increase and rally in the price of crude. This means at the end of the day, we'll still have to pay much more in terms of subsidy, because the current price band is still around 162 to 165. The landing cost is at July, August was well over 250 naira.
Yes. So even to add to what I've just said now, we are in the Ember month, and we all understand how critical the Ember month is to the national policy and politics. You understand? So it will mean that we will still spend more to subsidize the petroleum product. It will again mean that Nigeria, that is battling with fiscal issues, will still have to subject it to maybe more borrowing, because everyone understands how we have kept borrowing. But as we say that, we shouldn't hide our face from the fact that subsidy is still political, whether we like it or not. We all understand the economic situation of the country now. If any government dares to remove subsidy now, you will see that no one are being, maybe I shouldn't exaggerate, but many people will stand against it.
Just because we don't have social cushions that would limit the pinch.
Yes. And it's always so sad to talk about, anytime we talk about fuel subsidy, there's no way we won't talk about the state of our refineries. And that is what has brought us to this,
Okay, Mr. Yusuf,
level.
now let's also look at the fact that Nigerians are paying a little much more. Now we have subsidy within the petroleum sector, looking at petrol, but you look at Nigerians paying a little much more when it comes to gas. That's cooking gas, for example, now. So like you've rightly mentioned, if we remove subsidy right now from petrol, the pinch is going to be quite intense. But looking at the conversations around social cushions, we need to see improved means of transportation. We need to see the price of production of crude brought down, or important brought down to the barest minimum, and a whole lot more. But now let's also look at sharp practices that might persist just because of this current price band we have. We have other retail pump sellers that might not necessarily be NNPC. There have been reports that there are certain sharp practices going on within that regard. The DPR is trying to nip that in the bud. But how do you think this current situation fuels sharp practices to just make sure that these retailers make some ends meet?
Okay, a fact we have to establish is that in any business setting, what a businessman will look out for is that opportunity to strike. And it builds on the government to ensure that all the loopholes are covered, or they do not leave any loopholes. So we will not be sincere to ourselves to say the businessman or businessmen will not look out for that opportunity.
By the rules.
To profiteer and to do all that. But it is the government through the DPRA and other agencies, and all of us too, to ensure that because if you keep talking about government, NNPC is doing his best on it, because this is in few days we'll be in October. We have not had issues of fuel crisis, and this everyone understand Ember month to be the time of. So, but while those ones are doing theirs, it is so important for all of us to put hand on the deck, as they usually say, to ensure that at the end of the day, because if there is a crisis in the system, it is going to affect all of us. There is, we've been saying it, there is a trust deficit in the system. The marketers, they don't trust us, because immediately we start lining up. A marketer that doesn't see people line up in his station a few days ago, when we start lining up, he doesn't trust us. He will hike his price and all that. So there's the issue of trust deficit, and it builds on all of us to ensure that we have a country that we can all be proud of.
We definitely need to have increased corporate governance at all sectors, especially the petroleum sector, as we wait and see to what plays out with the PIA amendment and much more. Thank you very much for your time on the Breakfast Show this morning, Adiola Yusuf.